Hey guys, EmberYGO here. So today I wanted to make a video about my thoughts on the current Master Duel format, just some thoughts about the meta and the game in general. This was recorded before the Stage 2 Duelist Cup, so some things might have changed if you're watching this after that. This is entirely unscripted, I only have my notes to the side, so excuse me if I go off topic for a couple of points. So let's address the elephant in the room. This card should have been banned long ago, Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal, and what I don't get is why they didn't pre-hit this right before Fiendsmith was released. I was 100% sure that this will get banned, but apparently they want to keep this in the game. What I don't get is why this is legal when in the past, Konami didn't mind pre-hitting cards that were going to be problematic with the addition of cards that they were about to release. For example, Totally Awesome when we got the new Sprite support, Silva when we got the Dark World support, and King Calamity when we got the Centurion support. I don't get why this is legal, especially because you can do, things like Mayakashi Trap, Rollback, but not just that, If you have played any Master Duel for the last, I don't know, month or so, you have seen this card pop up here and there. I think that Appaloosa should also be banned, especially since we got Fiendsmith, and Fiendsmith can make this with just one card, basically. This is free, and it is so much stronger than any other negates that we've had before, which are generic, pretty much, like Brave Engine. This is just so much stronger, and I think that there's so many decks that are playing Fiendsmith just because of those two cards. I think that both of those need to be banned. I don't think Appaloosa will be banned, personally, but I would really love to see this card being banned. Also, I wanted to say that I was really disappointed to see that we didn't get the entire Fiendsmith package. We were missing a couple of cards from that pack, which they make Fiendsmith playable pretty much by itself. And it was really sad, because right now what Fiendsmith does is it just turbos out Beatrice, or Appaloosa, or DDD. I think Desiree is a really cool card, but I don't see it too often, which is a shame, because I think that Fiendsmith in general is a really interesting deck. Now, speaking about packs, I want to talk about the most recent pack and why that was a fail, especially because we got cards that are essentially stun support. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm going to type it out right now. But we got 7th Tachyon. This can search the barrier statues. We're going to talk about those later in a bit. But I don't get why we got this. I mean, I do get it. We got the entire Tachyon support and the entire archetype. But I don't think that we should have gotten that in this patch specifically. Selection pack. I don't really mind the Tachyon stuff. I think that that's a really cool deck. What I don't understand is why we got the rest of the Union cards, the XYZ, ABC cards. I think that those are very, very weak right now. I think that there's just so many more cards that would have been much better for this pack. The one thing that comes to mind, and I was certain that we were going to get in this pack, but we didn't get it, was Dominus Purge, especially because we got Galaxy, Ice, or I keep calling that the Tachyon cards, right? Those are all light, everything is light. So they could play Dominus Purge, and that would have been such a great support for this deck. And for Blue Ice as well. Blue Ice is also all light. A lot of the decks that also play Fiendsmith could play Purge, but right now there's no restriction on Fiendsmith. So at least if we had Dominus Purge, you could decide, hey, I don't want to play Darks, for example. I'm just gonna play Fiendsmith and maybe some Fires, etc., etc. No, it's not Fires. It's Fires is for Impulse. Okay, Impulse, I don't really think we should have gotten that. It should be for a later pack. Purge, I think that 100% we should have gotten that. Now, after this, what's gonna happen? We need to ban Snake Eyes. Unfortunately, this deck, this entire thing, it needs to be gutted. It's way too powerful right now. And at this point, it's been what, a year? I think it's been a year. We've had this deck for a year. It's been on and off in the meta. And I think that it is time to say goodbye to Snake Eye Ash, Snake Eyes Poplar, Flamberge. Now, I don't know how Konami is gonna handle that. I don't know if they want to kill the deck completely. You can always, ban original Sinful Spoils and call it a day, but it seems like Konami is hesitant to completely kill decks. So maybe Flamberge, maybe Poplar. I really don't know. One of those does it for sure. Again, depends on what Konami wants to do. Next up, please, 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 for the love of God, just ban everything in here. Everything in here needs to be banned. Also, probably this is a much better thing. Everything in here should be banned. I'm sorry, but this deck should not exist in Master Duel. This deck is really unfair to exist in a best of one format. Just wanted to talk about this a little bit and why Tenpai is really bad for the game. Basically, the essence of best of one is you don't know if you're gonna go first or second, so you have to build your deck for both going first and going second. And Tenpai just gets to ignore that, and they just play the best of the best cards, which are already just absurd for going second. Also, it is just not a fun and not a very interactive deck. You can't convince me that a deck that says, where is it? Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects during the battle phase, as well as whatever the fuck this is. Sorry, shouldn't be swearing, but whatever this is, I don't think that this should be in the game. Like, I'm sorry if you like the deck, but I genuinely don't want to play another format where this is a good deck. I don't care how Konami does it, but I don't want to see this deck ever again. Okay, so next up, it is about a card that it is in this list. And you probably know exactly what I'm gonna say, but this guy needs to go. You see this two right here, this little symbol right here? That is a good start, but it is not enough. This guy needs to go. I am sorry, but Maxi, Konami just needs to do what they did like 2 ban lists ago. Do it a couple more times, ban this. And with that, they should also ban this card, Called by the Grave. This needs to be banned. I'm sorry, but the only reason that we have Called by the Grave is to counter Maxi. If Maxi doesn't exist, we shouldn't have Called by the Grave. It makes playing hand traps so miserable, and it makes going first extremely strong, and it is one of the reasons why going first right now is just so strong, because the boards that going first decks make are really powerful, and especially if they Call by the Grave you, if you try to interact them and they just stop you with Call by the Grave, you're playing with one less card in your hand. And especially when decks make Omni Negates left and right, Ilia Sylvia, Appaloosa is not an Omni Negate, but you get what I'm saying. Cards like Call by the Grave should not exist in the game. When you are going second, you're already at a massive disadvantage, and just playing with less cards in your hand or trading 1-for-1 with Call by the Grave in your opponent's hand is just really, really, really bad. Also, with Maxi being in the game, you don't have too much creativity in your deck. Why? Because every single deck needs to include 2 Maxi, 3 Ash. Even though Ash is not the best card right now in the meta, you are forced to play this. If your deck even remotely loses to Maxi, just a little bit, you have to play this. And you also have to play Call by the Grave and Crossout. So that is already so many cards that you have to play. Also, Fua is another thing. I am more fine with Fua than Maxi. I don't really mind Fua. And I think that it could be good in certain formats, but not when Maxi and Call by are in the game. I am sorry. Fua is a good addition to the game, but not with Call by the Grave and Crossout. Here is the last point that I want to make, which is why stun is popular. If you go to Master Duel meta right now, you're going to see that not just stun, right, but other things that you can consider stun. Things like Exodia or things like Kashtira. Those decks, they are not stun per se, but they do play Floodgates. And like, not just, Di-Fi or Floodgates like Deck Lockdown, which you can play in a couple of other decks. Like, actually hard stun cards, like There Can Be Only One, Gozen Match, Rivalry, Solemn Judgment, Solemn Strike. And that's fine, right? If you want to play those, that's fine. But there is a problem with that, and that is that, hey, if you play the outs to those cards, then you lose to Tenpai and other decks like, Snake Eyes. So I think that, there's a really big problem there. All of those cards, the hard Floodgates, like Peekaboo goes in match, Rivalry, especially Pachycephalo, Barrier Statues, Macrocosmos, all of those need to be banned, like period. There is an argument to be made about Floodgates in best of 3. Again, I don't really mind them. If I have outs for them and if I can deck build for them, they are more than fine. Again, annoying, but they are fine. But right now, you cannot deck build for stun, and this is why people are playing stun. And all of those decks are basically really popular because they can dodge Maxi, they can dodge Call by the Grave, and they can dodge Fualas. Also, for most of those decks, they can also dodge Duel. As well as, you know, you look at all of those cards, like Imperm, Veiler, all of those cards, most of those decks, they don't really care about them. Again, there can be like very specific hands that do care about them, but for the most part, they don't. And this is also one of the reasons why, you know, stun and stun adjacent decks are really popular right now. That's pretty much it. Again, TLDR, Floodgates to be banned, Maxi, Call by, and maybe Crossout. Again, Crossout could be fine because, you know, if you ban Maxi and you ban Call by, there really isn't that much overlap between the rest of the cards that you're going to play. So especially at 1, I think Crossout could be fine. But again, it is, at the end of the day, just another copy of Call by for the most part. So could be banned as well. Again, Tenpai ban, just gut the deck, please. For the love of God, this is not a fair deck. Snake Eyes, also very much not a fair deck. Yeah, please release, you know, the rest of the Fiendsmith support, the Dominus cards. Oh, and Memento, please. Centurion, please. Like, what are we doing? It's been like almost a year. Like, come on, Konami. Yeah, and Beatrice ban. Beatrice. Oh, don't forget. Yeah. Beatrice ban. That's about it. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye bye. Peace.